deja vu because it's the double act up here again.
Not that funny.
Yeah, too much about design. The major difference is we are joined by the talented Michael Young, who kindly agreed to open the show for us this year. We've got very little time before we open the show, so I'm going to quickly pass over to Max to say a few words, and we'll rush downstairs to get this thing open. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. I'm not going to say very much either because of the speed to which you've opened the show. But really just to welcome you all to 100% Design. I've been working with the teams here on content elements of the show, and after we open it, we will go on a press tour with you all to meander through and see as much as we can in a short space of time. So thank you all. Shall we do the deed?
I think we need to
Heading downstairs for this.
we need to have this with you. I am the event director for 100% Design and the co-founder of Media 10. Welcome to the commercial cornerstone of London Design Festival, that is 100% Design. I'd first like to give thanks to sponsors, partners and exhibitors for their effort and support for this year's event. This will be the 23rd edition of 100% Design, and I'm proud to say I have actually visited every single one of them. So I think I'm slight authority in saying that this year is an exceptional year. But don't take my word for it. Before we hand over to Michael Young to open this year's show, I'd like to pass you on to a young guy standing next to me that never ever seems to age. A guy called Max Fraser, that this year has become our content editor for 100% Design. So Max, you can just say a few words.
Thanks, Darren. I'd love to say that I've been coming to the show for 23 years, but I was too young when it launched. But I worked out, I have done 20 years, I think, or somewhere around that. Anyway, it's great to be working with the team this year as content editor of 100% Design, and what you can see behind me is something that I put together that responds to the theme of the show this year called Elements, and I would encourage you to have a look around at all of the elements of this exhibition and read the captions closely. We're focusing in on the details within the products that you perhaps don't already know about. Of course, there's a lot of other great content to see in the show. There's a talks program way at the back, past the stairs there, and there's talks going on throughout the day and the rest of the show. Michael and I will be talking in an hour at 11 o'clock in conversation. But before we do that, let's let the man open the show.
Nothing like being put on the spot, but this is quite nostalgic for me because I am old enough to have been at the very first event 23 years ago when there was a tent, and I was backed by a Japanese company then, and we spent all the money for the stand with Inflate in the pub the night before, so I still haven't paid the invoice for that, sorry. So this is actually, I'm delighted to be invited back 23 years later on that foundation to open the show. So, thanks very much for the invitation. The show looks amazing, and I'm looking forward to having a nice chat with Max, going back through 25 years on stage of design. So, cheers. Thanks for coming. The show's open.
Can you hear me? All right. Okay, so louder. Do you? I don't know if I came into 100% Design when the theme for the show had already been set as Elements, but I was quite pleased with the theme because something that's I've always been interested in are all the different component elements that go into making a product that are perhaps hidden, or the bits that we don't know about when we look at them just on their own on a plinth or in an exhibition. And I think as journalists we're all guilty of just seeing something and passing by it very superficially. No, I'm alright. Okay. It's in the whole place in it.
So I wanted to focus in on the details. When you interview a designer and they talk about the element in a project that was really difficult to overcome, it might have been a production process, or it might have been a material complication, or inevitably they were trying to push something in a new direction that took a lot of research and development, and often many iterations and many years to get right before we then see the final piece. So I chose a number of products by designers that I admire and from companies that I admire, and they're not all necessarily new, to choose a product that they felt exemplified something that was very difficult for them to overcome technically. So what you've got is an array of products by British designers mostly, from along the lines of what we see in the show, so furniture and lighting principally. And I've asked them to highlight that one element that they wanted to focus on. So it could be the aluminium extrusion on a new chair, it could be the rivets that they had to develop in order to hold the whole thing together. It could be, in the case of the tip-ton chair, a lot of prototypes to get the tipping angle absolutely right. So it's quite a subtle idea, and it's quite geeky in many respects. But I think it's important that we understand and recognize these different elements that go into the development of really good, strong products, and we continue to support innovation, and also I hope it in some way helps justify the cost of some of these products as well. So that's what this is about. Probably best if you have a look at it later in detail, or on your way through or out or whatever, and shall we continue?
Yeah.